Hi, we're going to continue looking at what is a function, but now we're looking at function notation, which is the mathematical way of talking about this function concept. So the big question here is, what does function notation look like? There are always three things that go into function notation. You need to have a name for your function. Very common for your function name to be f, but that doesn't have to be what it's called. It could be called pretty much any letter. We usually don't use letters like E and I and S, just because those look like, well, the E and the I are special reserved letters for math, and S looks like a 5. We wouldn't call a function X, but we might call it Y. So our function name would just be a letter, usually F for function. Often letters around F, like G and H, those are often used for function names. You'll always have an input, that's the X coordinate, or the whatever you're inputting into your function. And then you'd always have an output. Here I've given 3 and 8 just as examples. That's not what your input would always be, but I want to show you what the function notation is. If your name is F, your input is 3 and your output is 8. So this is what our function notation looks like. It has parentheses in it, and the parentheses don't mean multiply, and the parentheses don't mean order of operations. The parentheses are part of the function notation. The way we would read this function notation is we would read it as f of 3 equals 8. What it means is we are putting this 3 into our function as an input, and we're getting an 8 to come out of it. So that's what the function notation is. It's just a way of writing in a very specific math way. I have this relationship between 3 and 8. If you see function notation, the other thing is, anytime I see f of 3 equals 8, I can assume, hey, this has that relationship where each input is going to give me its own output. So I don't have to worry about if someone else does f of 3, they're going to get a different answer. Not for this function. This function, 3 will always give you an output of 8. So that's function notation. It's a way of reading a new thing in math. It's very exciting.